Hello, hello, hello. I hope you're well. How are you all? As you can see, I'm in a car. I haven't made my way to my destination or arrived at my destination yet. So I'm in transit, but still wanted to come on live and speak to my lovely friends. I hope that you're well. Hey, Gifty. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. I'm just going to wait for a couple more to come on. I know a few people said they were joining us for the live. I hope your day's been well. Hey Priya, thanks so much for joining. Lovely to have you. I think this may be your first time, Priya, on a live joining us. Is that right? Warm welcome to you. It's lovely to have you join. We're just waiting for a few more people to join. How's your day been? I hope it has been beautiful. My day's been really productive. I think today's gone super quickly. I can't believe the time already, 8:30. And I'm running late for a dinner appointment because I had a meeting with a client that went over. I saw a family that I needed to spend more time with. I was with them for like 2 hours, but it was really necessary. And that's the perk of being independent. You can do things like that. And now I'm late for my dinner date, but I don't mind. So, yeah, we'll wait for a couple more people to join. Just a reminder, I want to just give every new member that has joined the community this month. We're in June still. We've had loads join, and I just want to give you a very warm welcome and thank you for being here. I hope that you've been enjoying the community so far. I hope you've had a peruse through the videos. There's quite a number to look through, but lots of useful information for you to start implementing and doing. And also resources that you can tap into. So with that said, today we're going to be talking about the 5 things that I have identified that you need. Let me just undo my charger because it's making a blinkety blink noise. That you need as an independent social worker from your accountant. For those of you that have seen my lives, you would know that I've been through a number of accountants and had quite bad experiences with accountants. So I'm going to share some really golden nuggets for you. And some of you who have already toyed with the idea of being independent, or who may be semi-independent already, may already have an accountant and you're doing really fine. Hey Angela, thanks so much for joining. And so you may have an accountant that you're kind of settled with and doing well. And if you do, that's wonderful. Please comment and please share some of your tips that you have for what you feel a social worker that's independent needs from the accountant. So without further ado, I'm going to head straight into it. So the first thing, and as always, I have my trusty notes with me so I don't go off track. So one of the first things and one of the consistent experiences that I have had with accountants is that, not with all of them in fairness, but the most of them have asked me questions about my business. They've asked me, and not just your usual bog standards. So what do you do? Okay, when did you start? When do you want to start your business? Have you incorporated your business? All those kind of stuff. Not stuff like that. I'm talking about, so what do you do? What's day-to-day life like? How do you get your income? Where do your clients come from? Those are the kind of questions that you want them to be asking you, because they're showing that they want an understanding about your business as it relates to you as the individual. And that's really important because they need to have a clear understanding about your business. Hey, Amy, thanks so much for joining. They need to have a clear understanding about your business and the operations and what goes on, so that they can then be advising you, because that's what an accountant's there for. They're to advise you on your money matters. So it's really imperative that they've got a good handle and understanding as best as possible. A bit like when you've got a staff member. When you hire staff, it's no different. Your accountant is one of your staff members. They're the managing director. And so whenever I've had staff, they get an induction. So they get a welcome pack. They get videos to watch related to their industry, related to their role. And they get to look at particular, they get to read particular documents. They get to preview certain areas of my website. They get to do certain things, even look at certain things within the community here on Facebook and my platform, so that they get to know my business. And so when you are hiring your, financial accountant, director, they need to have an understanding about your business. So you want them to be asking you questions about your goals, your financial goals. Where do you see the business being? Where do you want the business to go? And some of those things you may not have clear answers to, but that's part of their job to help shape and mold that and assist you. Yeah. So it's really important that your accountant is asking you the right questions. Hi, Diane. Thanks so much for joining us. Oh, why won't it let me wave to you? There you go. So it's really important that your accountant does that. Okay. The second thing that you need from your accountant is that they can undertake and are willing to undertake financial forecasting. Now, some financial accountants will do that as standard, and some will charge extra for that. But it's important they've got the capabilities and the knowledge to do that, and that they're willing to do that. Because as your business develops and as it grows, they need to be able to advise you at every stage. And it's going to be a bit pants if they don't have that kind of experience or ability to teach you and help you in those areas, because you're going to need somebody that's going to give you the right advice at the right stage of your business. An accountant can really add value to your business, or they can make you lose money. Yeah. And so it's really important that your accountant has got a variety of skills in certain areas. And even if they personally don't have it, but within their team. So some accountants will have a team. So they'll have mortgage advisors, they'll have income protection providers, and different people attached to their organization that they can draw on as part of their collective and team. And so if they don't personally have that ability, which is ideal that they do, so then there's a less likelihood that you're going to get charged extra. They could throw it in as a freebie, perhaps, or negotiate a deal with you. But again, that goes back to them asking you the right questions at the right time, so that they can understand what your business needs. Yeah. And that way you're in a better position to negotiate with them. But you want them to be able to have that kind of experience where they can forecast and will sit down and look at numbers with you and say, okay, for this quarter, this is what you're trying to aim for and focus on in your bigger goal. And this is how we're going to do it. This is what you should and shouldn't take every month based on this income. Yes, they need to be able to strategize, provide it to you in a spreadsheet and help you understand it. Yeah. The other thing, and this leads on to this number 2 that I've just discussed. Number 3, you want an accountant that is available and willing to talk and have meetings when you need it. That doesn't mean like every fortnight or every 3 weeks. But, you want them to be able to be available if you call, that you're not getting a voicemail, you're not getting their colleague Bob. You want to be speaking to them, and you don't want them palming you off onto their colleagues. You want to have a direct relationship and build a relationship with that person, because again, they're going to get to know you, get to know your business, and vice versa. And it just makes for a better working relationship that you could just pick up the phone, ask a quick question, drop them an email or even a WhatsApp, and you get an immediate answer because you're building that relationship. So it's important that your accountant is willing to do that. I've had accountants in the past who kind of say, oh yeah, we're going to talk ever so often, and that doesn't happen. And then trying to pin them down to it is a nightmare, because then they're like gold dust. You suddenly can't hide nor hear of them until it's time to do your returns. And you don't want that. You want somebody who is going to be really available, really engaged, and is showing a genuine interest in you and your business, and that outside of giving you your returns, that they're available and you've had some conversations, so that there's no surprises by the time the end of the tax year comes. You also want them where when they are willing to talk with you, that they're not charging you extra for that. So some accountants will charge you a premium for a certain amount of calls additionally in a month, so they might tie you down or kind of restrict you to getting a certain amount of calls or emails, and above that you're charged. So you need to look out for things like that, and you want an accountant that's not going to do that, but it's far more fluid. Obviously you're not going to abuse that privilege, But you want somebody that's approachable and available, and that you don't have to think, okay, I can't contact them because I'm going to be charged for it. You need somebody that's going to be available, yeah? And there was something I was going to say about the tax returns, but I'll come on to that maybe in the next one. The fourth one is that you want an accountant that is able to explain in clear, jargon-free language the process of filing your returns and all the different terminology and who does what, and what dividends are, and what your corporation unique number is and how it changes. And they need, when I say they need to be able to, not that they can just explain it, but that they can break it down in layman's terms so it's easy for you to understand and get to grips with. Now, there may be some of you that have relatives, or yourself, you may have background in finance and business, and so those things may not be daunting to you. For somebody like me, who business was completely new to, it was like speaking Japanese. You might as well have been speaking Japanese, because I did not understand a word. Tax returns, I didn't get what that meant. And it took a while, it was explained a few times before it really locked in. And so one of the things that I'd recommend you do is be involved in the process. And that's where, the person being available and willing to talk is really important, because you don't just want to leave them to kind of get on with it. I did that with my very first accountant, and I was paying way over the odds as well, but I'm going to come to that. And, I didn't have a clue what was going on. I really didn't have a clue. And it's only when I really took the bull by the horns and started getting involved and asking loads of questions, I'm sure like my accountants got fed up of me, but it didn't matter, because I was paying them and they were employed by me, essentially. And so I asked as many questions as I wanted to. I wrote things down. I got really involved, really engaged. And that's when I started developing a real understanding about what things were. I started talking to HMRC myself. I started doing all those things and making notes. And that's when things started to sink in for me and the dots started connecting. But I needed them to explain things in a really clear, logical manner, so that I got it. And then that, coupled with the practical steps that I took, allowed me to understand and get to grips with it. Yeah? So the fifth thing that I would say you need from your accountant is you need them to be close by. Sometimes you can have accountants that are really far afield and you can do things via Skype and online, and that's all very well and good to an extent, but there are times where if you need a returns done and they need a signature really quickly and you're not able to do it, or you need to file it and you need to hand it to them quickly, it's never your intention to be delayed. And actually, if you're doing things in the right way, you're always going to be proactive. And 9 times out of 10, I have been. But there's always going to be that time where you're busy, they're busy, your diaries have conflicted, and you need to get something to them really quickly. In the last 2 accountants, I had that, and I really needed to. It was a benefit that they were close by, that I can rush to their office and hand it in signed, and I didn't get a late submission and therefore get fined. So things like that is important. And again, it makes for a better working relationship when you can be in front of somebody, sipping, a hot chocolate and talking with them, and just deepening your relationship with them. I have found that doing that is beneficial, because not only you're deepening the relationship for a purpose, because you're getting to know them as an individual and you're getting to see their values and their ethics as a practitioner. Equally so, they're getting to know yours, and the more they know about your business and understand it, is the better they're going to be able to advise you. And the more you understand how they work as an individual and as a department, as a company, it helps you make better decisions about whether you want to continue with them in the next financial year. It also helps you to ask further questions, because you're going to learn more about them. You're going to, as you continue to go in your business, other questions are going to come up, and you're going to feel that they're a friend and that they're approachable and that you're able to approach them. And that's really important, because, when questions come up, you're going to need to know things. Certain opportunities are going to come your way. So I've had opportunities where I've been able to have members of staff, and I was able to just pick up the phone and call my accountant, and we had full-blown conversation at no additional cost, asked as many questions as I needed to, and I got a really thorough answer, and I was able to make an informed decision. about what I was going to do. But that's because we kind of built up a relationship where I'd see them in their office, we'd talk about family and stuff like that. Those kind of conversations happen organically when you're face to face with somebody. So I can't stress enough the importance of doing that. The other thing in terms of that is when you've built a stronger relationship and a deeper relationship, you're in a better position to negotiate rates and fees, and they will sometimes throw things in for free and say, well, look, I know this is something that you need, we normally charge for this, but I'm going to do this for you. I have experienced that. And I'm not saying get to know people because you want a freebie, don't get me wrong, but you know, it doesn't help, it doesn't harm if they are willing to do that, and if they are willing to add value to the service that they're offering you at no extra cost. Because the reality is, as service providers and as business owners, we'll sometimes do that with our clients too. You know, we will. That will happen organically, because that's the kind of thing that you do. That's what just happens in business. And you would have experienced that yourself as a consumer. So there are huge benefits to having your accountant do those 5 things. Those are the things that I say that you absolutely need. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of other bonus pieces of content here. I have known people that have paid £600 or so for a whole year for their accountant. While that is good, I always tend to question the level of service that one receives when they're paying that kind of money to an accountant. It does depend on your business structure too. It does depend on how complicated your business structure is and what other personal assets you've got and stuff like that as to what you pay. You shouldn't be paying more than $1,500 a year for that, for your complete account service, and that includes everything. I'll do a separate live probably about the kind of questions you should ask your accountant and what you should be receiving as services from your accountant, the kind of basics that you want as a package depending on your circumstance, but and how you should structure your business as well as an independent social worker. I'll probably do a separate live because that is worthy of that attention. But as a bonus piece of content, I would say no more than $1,500, and I will query the value unless it's like a family friend that you've been with for donkeys of years, and you don't have anything, you know, your business is such that it's kind of, you do the odd little piece here and there, but as you start to step up a gear, you're going to need more input. And so you're going to find nobody's going to give you a valuable service for £600. I can tell you that. You will, however, find accountants that will charge you the earth, you know, and give you that service or give you the service that you need. I would say that you shouldn't be paying more than £1,500. I've been stung by that. I was paying an accountant just over $2,000 every year. It was £2.5 grand every year. It was my first accountant. I didn't know any better. And it wasn't until I kind of started shopping around and looking around and having experiences and leaving them and having other accountants that I realised, why on earth was I paying so much money? That was more than a mortgage. It's more than my current mortgage. It really is. By a good amount, you know, by like at least four times. So that gives you an idea of the kind of money that you could be paying. And those, you know, that accountant provided all the services that I said, you know, that you need, but you can find accountants that are far more reasonable financially that can still do all of that. So your task, and what I'd like you to be thinking about, is to really start shopping around. If you haven't already got an account, if you have and you're not getting all those things, then you want to be looking at that and reviewing your package with your accountant and seeing what you can negotiate. Having an accountant is really important when you're about to embark on independent social work, because they're the ones that manage your books, and you can have all the money coming in, but as I said on another live, if it's not been managed well, it's going to be really, really difficult for you to grow and retain that money and have the money to develop your business and yourself personally and professionally. So it makes a huge difference having a good accountant. I finally found a good accountant that I'm sticking with, but I'm very much involved and I'm very much learning what I need to do so that, you know, I'm therefore asking the right questions, and not only that, I'm keeping them on their toes. Hey Jen, thanks for joining. I'm keeping them on their toes, and I'm also ensuring that I'm kind of learning all the time myself. So it puts me in a good and strong position to know kind of if things are not going quite right, I'm kind of picking up on that, and I'm been proactive in asking questions. And I'm saying, well, aren't we meant to file this? Aren't we meant to do this? Or aren't we meant to do that? And then she might come back to me and say, well, yeah, but we don't need to do it because we haven't yet done this, and we've got this amount of time scale. They're always going to know more than you. But it's good if you can show them, actually, I know what I'm doing as well. I know what I should be getting. That's really important, because there are unscrupulous accounts out there that aren't practicing ethically, and that will screw you over. I can tell you that. I've experienced it by more than one accountant. And so I want to encourage you to really, you know, have a look at the accountant that you have, if you have one. And if you don't, make a note of these things so that when you do go to look for an accountant, you will be able to pick one that is going to serve you well and meet your needs. And as I said, let me know if you would like me to do a completely separate one on how you can structure your business. I believe that there's one particular way to kind of structure the business as an independent social worker if you're a one-man band. There are different ones if you've got different colleagues that are joining you and you're doing certain things like opening a residential centre. But for a one-man band, there's a particular way that I always recommend it being done, based on the advice that I've received, and why. There are legal reasons as to why. So if you want me to do a separate post on that, a separate video on that, let me know. And I'll also include what questions you should ask your accountant and what kind of services that you need from your account. What kind of things should your package include? Let me know if that will be helpful. If you've got any questions, post them in the comment below, in the comment section below. I hope that this has been helpful. Thank you for joining, Gifty, Priya, Angela, Amy, Diane, and Jen, and anyone else that's been watching. And I hope that you have a wonderful evening. I can't see any questions coming up immediately. So I'm going to love you and leave you here until tomorrow. And I will, let me know if you've got any other questions that you have. So speak to you soon. Take care and have a beautiful evening. Bye for now.